Good evening, everyone. This is Son from the UK. I'm a friend of Big Boss. Big Boss is obviously Dave. You all call him Dave. I call him Big Boss. I've known him for many years. We met through Twitter. Great guy, great mentor, great friend. I've learned a lot from Big Boss. I really have. I'm so happy and proud of him for doing this podcast, E.I.T.H.R. I really am. I know it's something he was talking about doing for a long time, and he's finally done it. But that's what I love about Big Boss. Whenever he says he's going to do something, he will do it. He's less talk and more action, so I'm really happy for him, and I'm really proud of him as well. It's very inspiring. I'm enjoying listening to the podcast as and when I can. I find it educational and I find it entertaining. It's just brilliant. It's such a great podcast to listen to. And I hope that everybody else who's listening to the podcast is also enjoying it. If you haven't listened to the podcast yet, I certainly do encourage you to start listening to it. You won't be disappointed. Because like I say, it's entertaining and it's also educational, because that's what you need. It's a good balance, which is what Big Boss has always been like. He's all about balance. So he's not always serious, but he's not always a joker. He just does both brilliantly. And he knows how to fuse them together as well. He knows sometimes you can make a bit of a joke about a situation and other times you can't. I just think he's brilliant at what he does, and I'm really happy for him, and I'm really excited to see how far this podcast will go. Good luck, Big Boss, and I certainly hope that all your viewers enjoy the show as much as I'm doing so.
You're listening to the E.I.T.H.R podcast with your host, D-Cal.
It's your boy D-Cal here hosting the E.I.T.H.R podcast in Northern California from the GNSHQ on this lovely Friday afternoon. Hope all is well with everybody. You made it to the end of another week. Congratulations on that. And so for everybody who's new to the podcast, welcome to episode number 88. And for those who have been here for a while, welcome back. So the E.I.T.H.R podcast stands for the elephant in the room, where we discuss topic and concerns around the round table, the dinner table, the internet that people have when it comes to certain things. And so we do our best to kind of come from it a non-judgmental, non-biased perspective. We also like to do something called inspirational and motivational and give shout outs. But before we do all that, make sure you guys follow us on social media on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow us at the E.I.T.H.R, T-H-E-I-T-H-R. You can also follow us on TikTok, which is under the parent company of the GNS Inc. So, first thing I want to do is I'm going to give a shout out to Lockout Music Studios. Lockout Music Studios, they have a few campuses across the country, mainly in California, I believe, where they're based in Santa Ana, which is in Southern California. And so what it is a few buildings that they lease out, they rent out to small business owners, entertainers, musicians, whether it's metal, whether it's rock, whether it's acoustic, doesn't really matter. So they allowed us to run a promotion on our GNSETV.com channel. So if you're looking for a spot in Santa Ana. I believe they have locations also in Long Beach. They have locations in Sacramento. They have location in, I want to say, somewhere in Central California. Those are just the places at the top of my head that I'm aware of. But again, you can go to lockoutmusicstudios.com and be able to check out the inventory and see what they got. And make sure you let them know you got it from the E.I.T.H.R podcast or you got it from GNS ETV. Inspirational, motivational. So, I was talking to someone yesterday and she referred to me as like her psychiatrist, or her therapist, if you will, because of the inspiration that she gets from sometimes our conversations that we do have. So, I gave her a bit of advice, like I normally do whenever we come up with these topics. And one of them is something that I posted on social media earlier. And it says, be very careful. Be very careful what you tolerate. You're teaching people how to treat you. And if you are a people pleaser, such as myself, you have to give yourself a limit. Sometimes telling people no is a yes for you. And sometimes you also have the expectation that people are going to return the favor. Whatever energy you give to people, people are going to give that energy right back. Unfortunately, that's not how this world that we live in works. So you have to understand what limits you set are the limits that people are bound to accept and deal with when dealing with you, when it comes to you. So make sure that you give yourself a respectable amount of leniency that you're bound to give somebody, and respect yourself with the amount of weight that you're willing to carry for somebody else, because that is what they're going to hold against you. So we're going to get started in the podcast after a word from the sponsor right quick. It's your boy D-Cal here at the E.I.T.H.R podcast in North Cali.
Hi everyone, this is Kelsey and I'm the Vice Chief of Editing of the World Update. We're the branch of the GNS Inc. that are going to be responsible for presenting you with encouraging and uplifting news and updates that are happening within the local, regional, and global things that are going on. We feel there's enough bad news being broadcast in our lives, so why not hear something good? Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at _the_U_. Let's update and uplift.
Welcome back, everybody. It's D-Cal here for the E.I.T.H.R podcast, and so we're going to get right into this little thing we got going on right now. So, we're going to start off with this. There was a DoorDasher in Michigan who was delivering some, I'm guessing, food to somebody, and shots fired, striking her car. Now, the report that I read showed that she wasn't injured, neither was the minor passenger that was with her. Probably younger sister, younger brother, somebody like that. Going out, doing DoorDash. Probably nothing different than any other time when made deliveries. Suspect, I believe, are still unknown. They don't know who it was. They don't know what the motive is. Listen, for anybody out there who is doing gig work, you be careful, man. I remember in 2017, 2018, when I was doing Uber in the Bay Area, where there were a lot of situations where dashers were reluctant to go to certain neighborhoods and certain places, which is the reason why a I'm sorry, Dashers. What was the reason why Uber drivers wouldn't accept a lot of rides? And another reason is because of a situation like this. I remember, again, when I was doing Uber, there was 2 instances on 2 consecutive Fridays where drivers picking somebody or dropping somebody off in a neighborhood in San Francisco, and a car pulls up next to the Uber car and unloads fire. Wasn't sure if they recognized the passenger, wasn't sure if they thought the driver was a case of mistaken identity. One instance, the passenger was safe, but the driver was struck in the neck. And the second instance, if I remember correctly, both people came out unscathed. Unfortunately, the car looked like a wiffle ball. So, listen, everyone's under a bunch of stress nowadays, man. It's just part of the norm with how everything is going. Inflation, cost of living, the rate of pay is not really doing much, but everyone's on high alert. You know, I've always said that people are walking around on what seems to be like broken glass and eggshells, right? Everyone's just afraid they're just wound tight. They're just wound extremely tight. So try to keep in mind, man, whatever you're going through, somebody else is going through it too. And again, with this DoorDasher in Michigan, which happened earlier this week, luckily nobody was hurt. Again, I haven't read anything in regards to what the case was, what initiated it. Was there a motive behind it? Was it a mistaken identity? Was it crossfire? You know, a case of wrong place, wrong time. It didn't specify. But either way it go, luckily the person was safe. Luckily no one was injured as far as we know. And this could ultimately change the perspective of what this person does for money, good or bad, right? So just, you know, be aware, man. Whatever you're going through, understand somebody else is going through it too. And my late brother Joe had a saying, and my sister-in-law was telling me about this. Don't become what you hate. Don't become what you hate. So if you are tired of a certain group of people, or tired of a certain individual or a certain style of something, don't become a carbon copy of that. And it's extremely easy to do something like that, because since you're focused on avoiding that, that's mainly what you're looking at. That's what your attention goes to. It's an old example is someone tells you don't think of something. What's the thing that you're thinking about? The thing they told you not to think about. So when someone constantly is putting obstacles in your way, you tend to only see the obstacles. That's why the words that we speak are so powerful. So, you know, whenever I'm dealing with people, I do my best, man, to make sure that I give everyone that I talk to a compliment of some sort, because you just never know what that person may be going through. I remember I was on a bus years ago, and I was in a mood, and some lady got on the bus and she walked up to me and she was like, "Good morning." You know, and in return, I smiled back at her in kind, and she sat in her seat. No big deal. We didn't speak the rest of the ride. And her stop was before mine, and I remember her getting up, turning around, looking at me, older woman, and she smiled again and said, "You have a good day." And I said, "You do the same." She got off the bus, and it's just amazing how that small interaction, someone smiling at you, genuinely smiling at you, saying good morning, good afternoon, good day, and leaving. Like, "Hey, man, you have a good one." You know, that smile, literally, that smile can be contagious, man. So if you're doing delivering or you're receiving a delivery, you know, whoever is that's doing the work, man, just try to make sure that you don't project onto them the foulness that you're going through, because you don't know what straw is the breaking point of that camel's back. Second thing I want to talk about, now that we got that out the way, is in Sacramento, there is a nonprofit who is giving away prom dresses or dresses for graduation. So I'm looking here at the article from Fox 40, and I'll just read it in part from their website. It says, a Sacramento nonprofit having a dress giveaway this weekend for students. Angeles E.I.T.H.R, translation to Angels of Earth, is giving away 100 new dresses they received in donation to students for graduation or prom. Yo. This event will be held at Mi Rancho Restaurant at 6201 Franklin Boulevard in Sacramento from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday. The upcoming event will be the nonprofit's 6th year doing the giveaway. That's what's up. And if anyone understands, I was having a conversation with somebody, which I believe a conversation led here to the podcast, that if a reason why I want to do my own media is so I can control the narrative. And so this is a beautiful thing, because if anyone is familiar with the Sacramento area, South Sac has a extremely negative reputation. So the fact that this positive thing is happening and it's the 6th year, obviously tells you this is not a fluke. This obviously tells you this is something that's been going on for a while. This is something that the community gets behind. And obviously this woman got a lot of inventory to give away. So it must be a profitable business for them to do something like that. But imagine families who don't have the money. Listen, I ain't got to worry about no prom just yet because my daughter's not old enough to go to one. However, I would imagine those things are not cheap to rent, let alone to buy. So the fact that, 100 of them is just being given away, kudos to them, man. Again, it's called Angeles E.I.T.H.R, Angels on Earth, and at 6201 Franklin Boulevard in Sacramento. So if you're in the area, man, or if you're close by, and you know someone that is on their way to prom or about to graduate and they need a dress, make that trip. Make that trip. Like I said, you're going to spend a significantly less amount on gas than you would on the dress. And it's going to give that kid or those kids an experience that they're always going to remember that prom. They're always going to remember what they wore to graduation. They're always going to remember that moment because that's something that they're going to show off, especially for children who are believed to be less likely to do something or go somewhere because of financial situation. They have to work, no parent, whatever the case may be, whatever struggle that they're going through. This is a good thing. This is to make sure you check that out. And also with the rest of the article, it says, we like to see them happy, find their dress. So, Sarai? Oh Lord, I just chopped her name up. Sarahy. Sari? Lord help me. I know I ruined it. I'm sorry, miss. If you can hear me in spirit, I'm sorry. But she says sometimes they don't know which one to choose, so we try to help them to see which one looks better. So, if you may find, a handful of dresses that you think is you like them, so they're going to kind of help custom based on what I'm guessing, what you potentially going to look like at the event, what the lighting is, what the theme is, what your school colors are, so on and so forth. So that's what's up. According to event organizers, anyone is welcome as long as they have a valid school ID from a middle school, high school, college, or university. Students will be allowed to try on the dresses in a nearby fitting room on site. That's dope. That's pretty cool, man. So yeah, it's 6201 Franklin Boulevard. And this is the 6th year that they've done something like this. I think that's remarkable. I think that's incredible. You know what? I'm almost certain that there's more than just this location who's doing something like that for the community. But sometimes these businesses, they do not want the attention. Sometimes they just stay away from it, which Most places don't understand why you don't want it. Most people don't understand why you don't want the attention. Well, in today's world, it may come off as braggadocious, or it may come off listen, you got trolls trolling anything a person may do, right? So they might just want to keep it low key. Not only that, but because it is such a good thing, there's a chance, man, that you might get the wrong type of crowd who wants to come there and attempt to create some issues. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about this location, but just in general, right? In general, you might get people who just want to go and, as I used to say, just kick up some dust. You know what I mean? Just make a ruckus for no reason. They just want to. So I do believe that there's more businesses out there who are doing it. For whatever reason, they're just not getting the attention. So, good thing on this company, on this spot, man. Good on them. I'm glad that they're doing something, and I'm glad that they got the attention. I'm glad that they're able to change people's lives. Like I said, middle school, high school, college, universities, it's irrelevant. All you need is a valid ID, and I think that's pretty dope. Honestly, that's pretty dope. Cool. So the next thing I'm going to bring up real quick is, if you could do something that you knew you wouldn't fail, what would it be? What would it be? I want you guys to think about that. If you could anything and you knew you couldn't fail, what would that thing be? And before I give you my opinion on that, I kind of want to remind you guys that today is Friday, and today is what segment we do what's called What's Your Mile. And What's Your Mile is sponsored by the clothing line that we have, and it's Make It Look Easy. So what is it that you have in mind as a difficult task, something that you would love to do, but it's just been difficult to do? But you're going to accomplish it. You're going to knock it out. You're going to tackle it. What was something that you did that was extremely difficult, that was something that you had a hard time with accomplishing, but you did it, right? So we do that every Friday, and so you're more than welcome to hit us up on social media. You can also do the Spreaker app, SPREAKER. Create yourself a profile, and on the Spreaker app, you're able to chit-chat with I and have a conversation. And so when on Fridays, you can go ahead and do the chat option, where you could, let the world know what it is that you're miling. So give you a heads up on that. Also, come next week, on Wednesday's show, I kind of made mention about this. We have another segment that's going to be starting in the next week or two, most likely next week. And it's called Meetup Monday, or Mile Meetup Monday, or Monday Mile Meetup. And so what that's going to be, again, it's for the sponsorship of the clothing line. You can check that clothing line out at mile.today, MILE.TODAY. So with mile.today, with the Monday meetup, or the Mile Monday meetup, or the Meetup Monday Mile, or whichever one you want to call it, kind of either way it goes, the same thing, is where the E.I.H.R podcast is actually going to do some traveling. So what I'm going to do is just pick a random spot somewhere in the state or somewhere in the country. It may be Northern California. It may be Central California. It may be Southern California. It may be out of California. I haven't decided yet. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the trip, and it's going to be random on Mondays. Find some place that's nice and quiet. It could be a coffee shop. It could be a parking lot at a grocery store. It could be in the lobby of, it could be at a park. It could be random. And host a podcast. So there might be a chance, hell man, Somebody might be walking by and you see something that has the E.I.T.H.R podcast on it. You can be a random guest on the podcast, get broadcasted across the planet on this platform. So that's something that I'm going to be doing. I think that'd be kind of fun. Get engaged with the community or whatever, so that way you guys can put a face along with the voice. I think that'd be kind of cool. And it'll give me a chance to kind of just see some places I normally wouldn't see on a daily basis. So that's what's going on next week. So what's my mile for this week? I'll tell you this right now. My mile for this week is going to be content for the channel. I created a few more categories. There's going to be music and there's going to be art. There's also a relaxation. So with the relaxation is going to be where it's sound effects, landscapes, or instrumentals. Just, visual, mainly sound, where you could put on and just relax. I'm the kind of person, I love the sound of tires rolling over gravel. I love the sound of rain. I love the sound of traffic on the highway. Those type of sound effects, it's like my own variation of white noise. But I'm going to have it to where it's going to be on my channel, on one of my playlists. So not only is it going to be on my video on demand, so you can subscribe to GNSETV.com, subscribe to the channel. And then when you go down to the video on demand categories, you'll see like smooth and relaxation. And you can just look at the catalog of videos that I have there. Okay. So the whole purpose, again, is to help that. So if you have issues with sleeping, it's a free subscription. I know there's a lot of other things out there where you can get the music for, and it's a paid subscription. Right now, this is just something that I feel everyone could utilize. So that's what's going to be happening with that. And then on the media side, this is where you're going to get things like the Mile Meetup Mondays or any other episodes of the E.I.T.H.R podcast. And I'm trying to also get it to where other talented people who have a media platform are able to use this platform to help promote themselves. So, GNSETV.com, go ahead and subscribe to that. And that's going to be coming to you guys hopefully in the near future. I'm uploading some stuff right now. Right now, on the channel, there's a view from Tuesday night of me driving across the Golden Gate Bridge. And there's, believe it or not, plenty of people who've never been across the Golden Gate Bridge. You've seen pictures of it, you've seen images of it, which is great. But it's me and my vehicle driving across the bridge. So it's kind of a nighttime, the bridge is lit up. And then when I go across the bridge, there's another little scene that I give you guys. And it's one of the perks of having grown up in the Bay Area. One of the perks is one of the greatest places on the planet is where I call home. So that's what that is. But I want to give you guys a heads up on that. So back to what we were talking about in this segment right here. If you could do something and you knew you would not fail, what would it be? Hopefully you had enough time to think about that. And I'm going to tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, the only reason why people fail is because they run out of inspiration. And I'm not necessarily talking about inspiration for as wanting to do what it is that they want to do. They run out of inspiration, ladies and gentlemen, because they're exhausted from doing what they've been doing. And so you got to learn how to keep fresh and stay accountable and be creative and always outside the box. So what would you do if you knew you could not fail? And I'm telling you from experience, the only reason you'll fail is because you set up an expectation that you have yet to achieve. Most people, not all, but most people get discouraged because of the time it's taking to achieve said goal. Listen, there are people who it takes 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years to get to a goal. And that's because they compare the time it took for someone else who took 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years to achieve. Their situation is not your situation. Understand that. It's the goal is not the destination, it's the journey. And the only reason why you would fail is if you make the conscious decision to stop it. Keep that in mind. So whatever it is that you know you could achieve if you wouldn't fail, understand failure is only when you completely walk away and give up. So hopefully next week, what's your mile? You'll be able to come back at me with what you achieved. It's your boy Decal, host of the E.I.T.H.R podcast. Make sure you download the Spreaker app, complete your profile, sign up, look for us, gnsetv.com. Subscribe, it's free. We'll be back next week. Y'all be good, and we are healed. Hey everyone, this is Decal, and I'm the host of the E.I.T.H.R podcast. You can find it here on Spreaker or any other platform where you normally get your podcast. Here, we like to have discussions about topics that you normally couldn't have with people who are short-sighted, or a lot of people who just want to yell, or people who just think that their version is right. So we try to give it from different perspectives so you have more of an informed way of looking at things. Check us out, the E.I.T.H.R podcast with Decal.